Have either of you read the book?
Nor am I going to.
So that was Diane, was it?
I haven't.
Well, you know what? I thought I might not, and then I bought it a couple of days ago, and I'm actually completely hooked. And I've got to say, some of the media coverage of it, I don't think is 100% fair. Kate, what do you make of the fallout of all this? How damaging is it for the monarchy, and do you have any sympathy with Prince Harry?
Well, I do have some sympathy in the sense that he's obviously somebody who's had a sad childhood and is trying to find his way. I do feel it is ironic for someone who talks a lot about privacy and security of his family, that he should tell us all these lurid details about his private life and past, and also the point about the Taliban. I mean, I haven't read the book, so it might be has been misrepresented. I don't know, but it struck me as being something that I would have strongly advised him not to say. It felt wrong, and more than anything else, for someone who's so keen on the security of his family, it felt like a slightly odd thing to do.
Well, it wasn't so much of a boast, but he still said it, and I know some military figures are upset about that. Diane, you've got no interest in reading this, then?
I'm afraid not. I mean, partly because having read, seen some of the coverage of it. I mean, two brothers row, two brothers have fights. I mean, I've only got a sister, but I have to say the idea that two siblings don't get on and one is jealous of the other and they, have fisticuffs is hardly news.
But, there's something a bit more Shakespearean than that to it, isn't there?
Well, there is because of their position, but it also, I think, is quite important that other people, I mean, let's say I am in some ways far more sympathetic to him. My mother was killed in a car crash when I was almost exactly the same age as he was. So, a bit of me is extremely sympathetic to someone having to grow up in a very different environment. Now, I wasn't, in the public domain like that, except in a small area that I lived. Absolutely everyone knew about it, and it was very, very tough when you're 10 years of age. So, I do start with understanding that, and a lot of things that happened in my life probably are because of that happened. But I then think that the idea that I'm afraid, put it in a book and make money from it, I've been, I'll just take another second to tell you, because my mother was killed by a driver who was drinking, what I've done, as others may know, is I spent a lot of my time since then working on drink drive, working on alcohol misuse. So I hope that, the awful tragedy that happened to me, I've put to rather better use. I'm sorry it sounds boastful, than trying to put it in a book and make money. So, I start in a way with a sympathetic approach, but then to put it in a book and sell it, I find that difficult.